David,
Sam.
Mental Health Monday. Just tell me about your own mental health, a little bit about your addictions.
Okay, so I suffer with addiction and I suffer with anxiety and depression. Primarily, I would class myself as being an alcoholic, but I know now that alcoholism is just another addiction. I've used drugs in the past. I can do anything, take anything that will make me feel differently, that will make me escape how I'm feeling, because I don't feel comfortable living with life on life's terms. And that's what I've had to learn to deal with to stay well now. So that's the addiction side of it.
Yep.
My anxiety and depression, I think they're all interlinked. I think all mental health is like intertwined somewhere. Anxiety, I think, is at the root of my addiction. Naturally, I'm a fearful person. I worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I worry about what's going to happen next week.
Have you always worried?
Yeah, I've always worried about consequences of doing things or consequences of not doing things. I've always lacked faith.
Is that in yourself?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I think self-esteem and low confidence have led to me not having a massive amount of faith in myself.
Is there anything in your past that has led to that, or is it just like your makeup? Because some people naturally, you get optimists, you get pessimists.
I think I can just always remember as a kid never feeling good enough, never feeling like I've done enough, and I think that's gone on into my adult life. So because of that, I've always had low self-worth. And when I say as a kid, I can go back to, I don't know, when I was playing cricket at school. If someone played better than me, I felt bad, I felt low, I felt everything was my fault. If I failed an exam or I did badly in an exam at school, I felt guilty for it. And that's grown into my adult life, and I've had to, that anxiety links in with the depression, because that anxiety makes me feel depressed, it makes me feel low, it makes my self-mood low. And I've had to learn and this is part of the prison journey, when I got to that point where I lost hope, where I lost me, where I didn't understand what my purpose was on this planet, was the point where I was allowed to almost reinvent myself, almost start looking at life with a totally different perspective. And that's what I do now, and I have to do a few simple things every morning. I have to remind myself that I am worth the life that I have today. Everything will be all right. Whatever happens, everything will just be all right. And sometimes someone just saying that or hearing that makes things 10 times better. So yeah.
Can you remember when things started? The addiction, again, people don't understand. Did you have normal teenage years? Myself, you go out as a teenager, you drink to excess, you're ill, hangovers, you work, that whole journey. Do you know when you started, shall we say, going down the slippery slope, as it were?
I have no idea. I've been asked this question loads of times before, and I can't pinpoint it. I started drinking when I was about 14 or 15. But back in them days, that was quite normal.
Yeah, me too, 15, house parties, flagging a cider on the streets with your mate.
Yeah. So I remember that. But all my mates were drinking as well, and I see them now, and they've not had the alcoholic problems that I have. I think things started to progress when I left home and I went to uni, because then I was given that freedom. I had a bit of money in my pocket, no one keeping an eye on what state or what time I was coming in, and I took advantage of it. And then it progressed in my 20s. I started working in Liverpool, and I was in a decent paid job, and the club scene, the nightclub scene, the bar scene in Liverpool was brilliant, and I was out every night of the week, and waking up the next morning and going to work perfectly fine and carrying on. But the problem with doing that is by the time you get to 30, my body couldn't handle it anymore. I was in a bad way. So, you know, I was waking up shaking. I was forgetting everything.
Were you an alcoholic by then?
Yeah, by 30, definitely. Yeah.
Did anyone recognise that fact? You know, family, friends, did anyone have a word?
Yeah, loads of people did. But I think at the heart of every good alcoholic is denial. And I can just laugh it off. Oh, I'm only having 2. For some reason, alcoholics always say they're only having 2. I don't know what it is about the magic number 2, but we've only had 2. Loads of people said it to me. I was in denial. I refused to accept it. And until I accepted it, I couldn't improve.
At worst, how much were you drinking?
Every day I would drink to oblivion. The problem with it is that alcohol stopped working for me. I drank for effect. I never liked the taste of what I was drinking. I just wanted to feel drunk. At worst, probably 8 pints of bitter and 2 bottles of brandy a day.
Wow. And were you drinking that throughout the day?
Yeah. I'd have to say if I went to bed at 11 o'clock at night, I'd have to wake up at about 3 o'clock in the morning to have some brandy because I was starting to enter withdrawal. So I'd start drinking brandy at about 3 in the morning, go back to bed again, wake up again at 7 o'clock. Most people have cornflakes or Weetabix for breakfast. I decided to have 2 large brandy and cokes, and then I can function again.
Were you still working?
Yeah.
Wow.
With a lot of fishermen's friends.
Well, that you know, we laughed. There were prison officers I met. It was quite obvious they were alcoholics. Again, in denial. How long have you been dry now, mate?
Oddly enough, right, and I didn't know this till this morning, but 600 days today.
And your thoughts at this time?
Life's just wonderful. I don't worry anymore. I don't think about picking up a drink. I don't mind if people drink around me. My life, and important to me, the life of the people around me is better. There's no other way of saying it. Everyone's life is better.
So really going to prison has give you that sense of purpose?
Yeah, prison, there was a wake-up call. There was a long period of about a month where I was lost and, like I said, I didn't know my purpose. And I came out of that month-long period with a goal and a direction and a focus. And that's all I've done. I've stuck to it, one day at a time. That's all we've got in it today.
Yeah, I've always said that to people. You know, it's very cliched, one day at a time. David, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Are you happy to join us when we start the lives?
Absolutely, 100%.
Enjoy your day, mate.
You too.
Cheers. Thanks for coming. Al City.